Hello and welcome to Sticks and Stones. I hope everybody is having a great Monday so far. So you might be wondering why I'm floating around here. This is a little sneak peek or a hint into what my word is going to be today. So I'm going to take my cloak off here for a moment, but get back to it when I share my word. So I am very excited today to have my good friend and my business coach, Missy Day, here with us today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
Yes. She is going to share a word with us in a story that she's never really talked about publicly before. So that's pretty exciting.
Exciting, that's a word. That's one of the words.
Brave. I
Yes.
think it's very brave. That's a better word to probably slap on that. So if you guys are joining us for the first time, I just wanted to give a little background about why I started this platform. You know, we've all heard that saying, sticks and stones will break our bones, but words will never hurt us. I think that's BS. I think words are such an important part in our lives, whether it's something we're telling ourselves or other people are saying to us, and also to be able to put words on an emotion that you might be feeling or going through, so you can actually give it a label,
Right.
and then start to address it and maybe work through it. Would you agree with that?
I completely agree.
Missy is a huge advocate for helping people be able to share their stories, and I'm just curious, why are you such a huge advocate for that?
Because I know what it meant for me, what a release I received when the very first time I shared my personal story. You know, we all have our thoughts and belief how a person is when we don't know who they are. And people were just amazed when I shared my story, and I felt relieved, and it was like people can go through amazing things and come out the other side so strong. And it's so important for other people to hear people's stories, and I've seen the transformation it can make in people's lives when they stand up and tell their story.
That's awesome. I have been one of those people. I think it's really important to share our story and bits and parts of it because, yes, it helps the storyteller. I also think that it helps the audience too. Oftentimes, I think just as humans, we feel alone. Like no one else is going through what we're going through or have experienced what it is we are. So I really hope that this platform is help for others listening and also for people coming on the show to share, you know, give you guys hope and maybe some insight into one little even baby step that you can do to go through the situation that you're in.
That's why I love your show. I love the name of your show because, you know, the shows in the past, everybody's had great words, and we don't understand the power of a word has over us that we tell ourselves or that other people project onto us.
Right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that.
And it's very weird being the interviewee, I have to say. It's like,
Missy has her own show, and she's on the other side of the coin right now. So speaking of stories, I am going to go ahead and share with you and with you guys my word for the day and the story that circles around it. So to understand this, I need to give you a little bit of a context about the background. So a little over 4 years ago, I had a tragedy happen in my life. My then boyfriend, pretty much fiance, passed away tragically. So here one day, gone the next. And you can imagine there's a lot of words and emotions that are circled around that. But I wanted to share with you guys today a piece I don't really talk about that much, and truthfully, I don't know why. I think it was such an oddity for me to go through, and I don't think I even recognized that I was going through it until I was in the depths of it. So after he had passed away and after the shock of the situation had started to wear off, reality started to sink in. And with that reality, I realized that life is still going on, right, for everybody. Things get back to normal for everybody around me as well. But what I noticed myself doing was I was becoming a hermit on purpose. I was purposely making myself invisible. So that is my word today, is invisible. And I'm sure all of us at some point in time throughout our lives have felt this way, whether we were doing it to ourselves or not. But what happened was I had told the story of how it had happened hundreds and hundreds of times. He had quite a few people that loved him out there, which is a testament, but that also, they wanted to know what happened. So I shared the story over and over again. And when reality started to sink in with me, I didn't want to tell it anymore. I was over it. I didn't want to talk about it anymore. I didn't want to have to, be okay with, even if I wasn't feeling okay. So I became a hermit and really only surrounded myself with my family and a really tiny group of small friends that already knew what had happened, what was going on. I didn't have to pretend that I was okay. But with that, it was so against the grain of who I was. I have been a social butterfly my entire life. I truly enjoy being around people, and I was doing the exact opposite of that. And it really wasn't good for my business either. I own my own business, and how I make new connections and, get new work is by going out and networking and building relationships. And if I wasn't doing that, I wasn't bringing in any new business. And I was also putting off seeing my clients. So it was very counterproductive to me even being able to move forward. So I spoke with my therapist about this, and through the grace of God, my friends, and my family, they really helped to pull me out of my shell slowly and help me to not want to become invisible again. I think back, and what really scared me the most were all the questions that I would get asked that are normal questions that, anybody would ask. The one big one that is so simple was, how are you doing? How have you been? For somebody that didn't know what I had been through, or really didn't know me that well, or didn't know me at all, that's a normal question, right?
Right.
To ask somebody. And when somebody would ask me that, my brain just started swirling with, how I was really doing, which in my head I wanted to answer, I'm an effing wreck, and here's why, which makes everybody uncomfortable. And I think too, when people ask that question, hey, how are you doing? How have you been?
They don't want to know.
They're not really wanting to know the absolute truth of how you've been or how you're feeling, which that's a normal thing, right? That's just a piece of conversation to get to know somebody or to start the conversation. But I didn't feel like lying either. I didn't feel like being like, oh, I'm fine. Yeah, was not fine. So I just avoided the situation altogether for months and months. Probably this whole thing lasted, I would say, a good 2.5 years, which a lot of people don't know that. The lingering piece of this was social anxiety, which that was new to me because I love being around people, like I said. So to get through that and know that it's going to be okay if I go into a group of people was really a journey for me to not want to feel invisible. But one little tip I want to leave you with, if this is something that you're feeling as you feel invisible or you're trying to be invisible, the best thing that I did was get out and practice. Slowly, I got out, and if I was asked those questions, I didn't always answer it the right way. I did come out and say, actually, I'm a mess, and made everybody feel weird. But then I just told them, I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. Mm-hmm. You're helping me practice. I'm learning how to navigate through this. And that actually made it okay once I just was honest with them with how I was feeling. So we're coming up to the end of the first segment. Thank you guys for letting me share. We will be back with Missy's word in a few minutes.
Gene Wood's Racing Experience, named for the racing veteran and 3-time champion, packs big racing action into extremely fast, high-performance karts that let you battle the other competitors side by side, just inches off the ground. Though the Las Vegas Strip provides a glittering backdrop, to the drivers at Gene Wood's Racing Experience, the blinking lights are all a blur. Behind the wheel of the high-performance karts, you'll zip around the half-mile track at speeds faster than other standard racing karts' top speeds. Drivers learn to commandeer the speedy karts through an instructional video before they are let loose onto the curving track for 10 heart-pounding laps. We are located at 121 East Sunset Boulevard in Las Vegas, Nevada.
You know what? It's time to go racing. Let's get her done!
Hi, I'm Daylin Woods. Welcome to Woods Family Sandwiches. I've always had a passion for food. When I lived in England, I owned my own restaurant. Then when we moved back to the United States, an opportunity came to open a sandwich shop, and I just wanted to get back into it. We have here at Woods Family Sandwiches wraps as well as salads and soups. We offer only the finest ingredients to our customers. We have boar's head meats and cheeses. We have fresh bread, fresh produce, great soups daily that we prepare for our customers, kosher whole pickles, Deep River Kettle One chips. We have a variety of wraps, or you can make any sub a wrap, any sub a salad. Come on in for our daily specials. We are located at 931 American Pacific, number 106, Henderson, or call us for your deliveries or pickups at 702-826-2230. Here at Woods Family Sandwiches, we're family owned and operated.
We are looking forward to seeing you.
Welcome back to Sticks and Stones. Now it is time for our second segment with Miss Missy Day.
Yay!
Yay! She is going to be sharing with us her word and the story wrapped around it. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you, Missy, what is your word?
My word, Michelle, is limitations.
Okay, that's a good one. That can be applied a lot of different ways.
A lot of things. So I was thinking of, so when you had asked me to be on the show and you had asked me, my word, and I almost had it immediately. I just didn't know if I wanted to take that journey to explain what that word meant for me. Mm-hmm. And because I haven't shared it with anybody except a small group of ladies once, briefly. And it's not something that is a great topic that people really want to share. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like I need just to get it out there. It's yet another piece of my story that's a part of me that I think I'm just ready to let go of.
Well, thank you for coming on here and being brave to share that.
You're welcome. I wouldn't do this for anybody else but you. Well, maybe for myself.
Well, take it away.
All right. So, limitations. It's a word that can harm us and harm others. And sometimes we're not even aware that we're doing it for other people. So, the topic that relates to the word is, and I'm just going to share it, is the topic of fat shaming. And how we judge. And let's be real, we know we all do it. We're not supposed to. It's, kind of like a, judge lest you be judged kind of thing right out of the Bible. But it's almost human nature that when we see a person, we make an automatic judgment of who that person is without even knowing them. We make judgments. And in a world where we're supposed to be inclusive and be mindful of other people's feelings and embrace all kinds of diversities and things, which we should be doing.
Right.
Somebody forgot the memo to tell people about that people that are overweight, fat, whatever word you choose to use, are not included in that. That making judgments about people that are overweight is still perfectly socially acceptable. I mean, it's on social media, it's everywhere, really. And one of the things that kind of goes with the word fat is fat and
lazy.
So we have this picture sometimes of people that are overweight are sitting at home on the couch all day watching TV, eating whole pizzas and, liters of soda.
Right.
Which that can happen. I mean, there's a show on TV that I've never watched it, but I've heard that that's what they do, is they just eat all the time and see how much weight they can gain. And so that's not me. And it's never been me. And in fact, I've kind of been on both sides of the street on this one because I grew up not overweight. So I was the person, when I was thin, normal weight, however you want to term it, that would make the judgment call on people that were fat, right? Not proud of it. I'm not proud of it by any means, but I've been on both sides of the fence, so I know what both feels like.
Right.
And to make that kind of judgment call on people, I think about the people that I did that to in high school and in my 20s, and I feel bad.
Yeah.
Because I know how it makes me feel now.
And I've done it. I've made snap judgments, for weight, but also for other reasons too.
It can be lots and lots of reasons. We for whatever reason, we tend to put people in groupings or a box, or they're this way or they're that way. And going through my life, I'll never forget a turning point for me was 6 years ago. I went to an endocrinologist, and he was going through this list. Are you fatigued? Have you gained a lot of weight recently? It's like, gee, I think so. And we're going through all these things, and there was a lot of, medical things. I have a thyroid that doesn't function and lots of other things. But generally, when you're a fat person and you say that it's a medical to some degree, not all, it contributes to that. People roll their eyes and say, you're just lazy, you don't do anything, you just eat all the time. And unless you've been in my shoes, you have no idea what it's like to be an overweight person in this society.
Right.
None whatsoever. People don't want you on planes. They don't want you sitting next to them at the movie theater. They just don't want you in public sometimes. You know, just put them away and we'll pretend they're not here. And in my career, I never once felt inhibited or limited by my weight. I would get up and talk in front of anybody.
Yeah.
I would do trainings. I would speak from a stage. Never gave it a thought. I just thought, everybody's going to love my message. They're going to learn something. I'm going to add value. But you take me out of that environment, and then I become less confident and more aware of what society is saying.
More aware of the limits that they're trying to place.
Yes, the limits that I've allowed them to place on me as a person.
Right.
So I have a friend, Darcy Doherty, and I asked her permission if I could share our conversation. She is everywhere. This woman goes everywhere and then some. I get tired looking at her posts sometimes of all the stuff she does.
Very active.
She is. And she's an amazing person. And we had a conversation one day, and I said, Darcy, I said, help me out here. I said, I've pretty much backed off from doing a lot of fun things that I used to enjoy because of the fact I don't want to go through the whole, here I am, overweight thing in this tiny world. And I said, how do you move through that? She goes, first of all, I have no promise that I'm going to be here tomorrow. And I'm not going to stop living my life just because I'm overweight. And she said, you shouldn't do that either. So we had a really great discussion about that. And, you know, I'm able to embrace a lot of things in my life and let my story go, but my big fat butt is not one of them. I struggle with that all the time. And we've all seen it. So it's just time for me to move out of that and be confident, be the confident person that I am when I'm on stage or training or doing my coaching job. Be her all the time, because that person is who I really am.
I
Not
agree
the
with that one.
person that's putting limitations on me not having fun anymore. I want to have fun. I want to go to places, and there's ways around that. You know, like when I fly first class.
Right.
That way I have room, I'm not bothering anybody, and I don't like that either. I don't like being on a plane and someone's touching me. It makes me grossed out. Just saying. But I can still have fun and have a big butt.
Yes, you can. and I'm not by any means laughing at the situation. I think we both inject humor in things because you have to laugh in life. Right?
Yes.
And this was a more serious show, but, you know, I talk a lot about, you know, how we all judge when I speak about branding, and that's a whole nother story. But it, you know, it happens to all of us. We judge a book by its cover without even realizing that we're doing it most of the time. And I think the difference needs to happen when we realize what we've just done, to switch the mind frame and say, you know what, you don't know anything about this person for whatever reason you're judging them for, and let it go and give them, you know, not even the benefit of the doubt. Just don't judge them. Get to know them and not put them in a box and put limits on them.
Right. Don't let your body ever define who you are. I have the best thing I ever heard was Beth when she said, you have fat, you aren't fat. That doesn't define you, right? I'm still Missy, I weigh 100 or whatever. I'm still the same person. And if you're a person that has pulled back on your life because of your own limitations that you've set on yourself regarding weight, let it go. Screw that stuff. Just let it go.